Hello, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And today I'd like to share with you an alternative card that I created using just the stamp set and other supplies that I had from the Best Remedy kit that's available through Stampin' Up's kit collection. They're available while supplies last. You can find all of them on my website. You can search for them under stampinup.com/kits. They change frequently and add new ones, but this particular kit was all based on kind of thinking of you or get well kind of cards. Bright colors, cheery little sets. You get 9 different cards, 3 of each of 3. Is that correct? 3, 6, 9, yes. And they're really cool. They have little printed flaps on all of the envelopes, but these are the 3 different cards that you will get in that kit. It's a great value. I would quote you a price, but I'm sure I'm going to be wrong. It's 20 plus, and I can't remember. But what you're left with after you've created your 9 cards is the stamp set, and you might have 1 or 2 other little gems or something. And so I was thinking, well, it'd be fun to do something with this adorable raccoon. So I'm going to show you. I put it on a piece of white so that you can actually see the stamps. And I'll kind of set that aside when I'm done. So I'm going to attach my raccoon. You get a block with every kit and everything you're going to need in order to create. I'm also going to use this little ice bag. I'm going to use it. I want to put him here. And I'm going to use this Feel Better Soon. Let me pull it up so we can see where it's at. Feel Better Soon. It's right here. Line him up. I want him a little higher than that. Sometimes placing these when I'm on camera is not as easy. And then, do I have an image I can stick on the inside? Oh, that might be kind of cute. We'll stick this on the inside. It says, "Sorry, life stinks sometimes." Since it's this is a skunk. This isn't a raccoon. I'm not sure what I was thinking. This is a skunk. So anyway, so that's kind of what I've got. Hopefully that stays in the view of the camera. The items I'm using, I'm going to use a half a sheet of our basic white thick cardstock. It's cut at 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the center at 4 1/4. And I'm going to use some pieces of basic white. These are not thick, though you could if that's the only thing you're purchasing. I took, this piece is 3 by 3 1/2. I'm going to stamp that little stinker skunk on there. And then one that's 3/8 of an inch by 2 1/4 inches. That is to mimic the piece that came with the kit. And then I've got a piece of Pacific Point, and this paper I cut at 2 1/4 inches by 4 1/2. All the measurements I will have on my blog, justalittleink.com. And anything you'd like to order, you may go to my website, justalittleink.stampinup.net. There'll be pictures below on the blog. There will also be in the description some links that you can go directly to my store. I'm using 2 pieces of designer series paper. I've pulled these colors from this paper. This happens to be the Celebrate Everything 12 by 12 designer series paper from our July to December mini catalog. And let me pull it out and kind of show you. It's at the very back, and it kind of hides. Let's see if I can even get to it even right now. Yes, it's on the very back pages. It's this paper here, and it's something you can choose as a host reward from Stampin' Up. It's discounted, $18 of your host dollars, to purchase this, but it would be $30 if it were in the catalog for sale. So it's a great thing for hosting. But keep in mind that host rewards are also given for orders of $150 or higher when you place orders online. And so this could be one of the items you choose. And it's got all kinds of different holiday options, not just Christmas. So all of these items, let me show you. I've got a couple little tricks of how I stamped and cut my little skunk. So I'm going to go ahead and fold my cardstock along that score line. Use my trusty bone folder to get a nice crisp edge without leaving fingernail marks, and especially important when you've got colored nails. Then I'm going to attach on the front. Actually, I think I don't tell you what sizes I cut these at. One was cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 because I'm going to cover the entire front. The other piece I cut at 1 3/8 by 3 1/2. So I'm going to use my Stampin' seal. And if you are ordering on my online store, if you would place an order that's under $150, if you'd use my current host code. Looks like I need to trim this one just a little bit to fit. But my current host code for November is right here. However, you can always find my current host code on my blog. It's at the very top on the right-hand column. I always list the current month's host code there. And if you can't find it for any reason, feel free to give me a quick email, and I will be happy to share what my current host code is. I offer rewards for every order that's placed in $50 increments. So it has to hit $50. I do not combine. If they're smaller orders than that, they must be at least $50, and they need to use that host code. So I'm going to just trim just to make sure everything fits my card front. You don't want any little pieces here. So all that out of the way. We'll clean that up later. All right, I'm going to attach this in the center. This is just kind of to fill in the section. You could emboss this with some of our embossing folders. I think that'd be really pretty too. But I kept it really pretty simple. I'm going to split the two here. I think I'm fairly centered. Okay, and I'm going to attach my piece of designer series paper in the center, and you could use any designer series paper. I'm going to come up about an inch. Not going to worry about it being exact. So I want this to be as quick and easy as possible. So then I've got these two pieces. We're going to set this aside. Got my two pieces. I'm going to pull out some Memento ink, and I'm going to actually color this little skunk using my Stampin' blends. So I'm going to ink up my skunk. It's good if I have my Pierce pad. I normally keep a little quarter sheet one out, and I'm not sure what I did with it. Oh, here it is. It's my quarter sheet, so may have to re-ink here. We'll do a little quick breathing on that. Hopefully that was enough to keep things where I want it. You have a nice good press. When you're using photopolymer stamps, having our Pierce pad underneath, you could use an old mouse pad. That works as well. I'm going to set him aside, and then I also want to stamp on the center of this piece. And I'm going to again use that Memento ink. I've got one other thing I'm going to stamp. Let's see how well I do. I'm going to pull this a little closer. I might get my head in the screen. Hopefully not. We'll see how well we did. No, not actually too bad. A little juicy on the one end, but I think we can make that work. I forgot that I want to also get this little ice bag. I'm going to stamp him up here in the corner, just like that. Now we'll clean those items later, so we'll set those out of the way. And I'm going to show you just quick. I'm not going to color everything if you've watched any of my videos, you know that sometimes I've done quite a bit of coloring with our blends. There's lots of different ways to use them. I tend to go pretty simple. So if you're a purist when it comes to Copic markers, I've probably disappointed you. But I'm a fairly simple stamper. I don't blend a ton. I do a little, but you can do these color book or you can use them to blend. And if you blend, you want to pull light to dark or dark to light. And I tend to start with my dark blends and then add, and you can keep layering. You're not going to get this paper to pile up. It's important to use our basic white or our very vanilla. So then I'm also going to do some things, and I used just the light Flirty Flamingo so that I could get a little bit of color in his ears, on the insets of his ears. And I also thought it was kind of neat on the pads of his paws. So I just came in just one color. Didn't want it too dark. And we don't really have a lighter pink other than one that's more peach toned. So then I'm going to pull out using our smoky slate. And what I found is I liked using it the darker of the two. So all of our blends come in two tones. Well, all of our blends come with two markers, a light and a dark. That's what I mean by two tones. And you can use them together as I did for the ice bag, or you can use them individually. I also came in, and I'm only going to do this on the one side because I told you that I already want to color everything in front of you. I would also then come along over here and do it. And then I came and I decided to use the lighter of the smoky slate. Instead of blending them, I just came in and paired them next to one another. And I'll make sure I leave that eye so I don't color in the center. And I'm just going to then go across here and do just his face. We won't bother trying to do the rest right now. I can catch that up later off camera. But to kind of show you quickly how I kind of come in, and it does really go together pretty fast. What I like about the blends is that it doesn't leave lines where you've started. You could use our Stampin' Right markers, and for years that was our only color option to do all this kind of stamping. You can come in, as I said, you can blend, come in a little higher, a little darker, and see how it just models it a little bit more. So you'd keep going, don't stop there, and you would then take out your paper snips, and you would have to do some fussy cutting, and I'm just going to fussy cut my ice bag at this point, just because, again, you don't really want to watch me cut everything, but so it requires a little bit of fussy cutting. But I'm going to come this way, just since I find it's easier if I don't have to follow it around. I'm going to come in here and turn my paper, not my scissors. Actually, a tip that one of my stampers shared with me. You'll do better fussy cutting if you turn the paper and not the scissors. So you're only opening and closing your scissors. So I've got I'll set this aside. I would do the same thing with my skunk, but I've already colored my skunk. So I've got my ice bag. And then on my Feel Better Soon, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to take an angle, and I'm going to come up here, and then I'm going to come from this point. Nope, I think I did it the other way. I'm going to do the same thing on this side so that I have, what is that, a parallelogram? Something similar to. So I'm going to cut those two pieces off so that I'm a little bit angled. What I had done when I was designing all of this then is I took multi-purpose liquid glue, put a little bit of glue on the top of his head. Don't need a lot. So I'm going to stick his ice bag on his head. He maybe has a headache. Like so. But then I wanted him to be able to hold my sign. And so what I did is I pulled out, we used to sell these little cutting mats. And I need an Xacto knife. And again, we used to sell Xacto knives. We do not sell these things now. So any Xacto knife you can find works just fine. So what you're going to do is you're going to come in and you're going to cut along the line of his hands. And you will need both your scissors and your Xacto knife. It's important to kind of get this cut in here. Come through, and I'll use my scissors to go in the center there. And I'm going to come here, drag it along, come along here, drag down and over, like so. Let me put my lid wherever I put it back on. I'm going to pull out my paper snips. Look at this now. And so I'm going to then continue cutting along. Get my scissors under here. So that I can cut around this pause. Once I get going, it makes it a little easier to get around those. Come along here. And I'll get him lifted up so that this one lifts. And we get into here. And so we should be able to poke it up from the back side. Put the scissor into there. There we go. Try and get it coming to the other side. Like that. So I get two paws that then will lift up. And what I did then is I took on the back side and put little tiny pieces of Stampin' dimensionals. So I cut up one of the mini dimensionals on the back side. So I'm going to poke them up, pull those little cover pieces off, like so. And when I do so, then I can slide my sign underneath his hands. And we're going to lift up so that he can see that. I can just put a little bit of glue on the back side. Don't need a lot. That'll keep it down. Like so. And then I can take him and I'm going to pop him up using dimensionals. And again, I just use the minis. Here, across the center. Get a few of them up, some little pieces. So, okay. And when you do all of that, you can get all those backer pieces off. Those are the fun parts of getting these dimensionals to stick. Sometimes easier than other times. So, and I'll place him on the front, about the center, but not quite perhaps. And then we decided for the inside we would use this other greeting about it stinking. So we'll pull up and up. Make sure I get a good look. And like so. And you have a cute little card to send in the mail. Thanks again for joining me. If you haven't subscribed, I'd look forward to seeing you do so. And please like, share, comment, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon.